Number one, it's having a relationship with everyone I work with so that there's trust and there is cooperation and there's a shared vision. That's the most critical thing. But practically, the most critical thing is to have policies and procedures and systems that let everybody know what we stand for. Policies on what staff are expected to do, policies in a parent handbook, policies about what to do in the case of an emergency. And I don't just mean what happens if there's a fire drill. I mean what happens if a parent comes in with a gun. What are we going to do? Or I was talking with a director teaching a course in Arizona, and a director said to me, we had a wolf come on the playground. What are you going to do in that case? So do you have policies for every possible situation? Do you have procedures to help people know what to do? And do you have systems for supervision? Systems, for example, of staff development. Policies are crucial because they give everybody notice of what's expected. And they also hold people to the same standard. So if everybody knows that I am going to do an annual evaluation with each person, and I'm going to expect you to set some stretch goals for yourself. By stretch, I mean each year you're going to take a look at how you need to develop, and I'm going to work with you on those. If you know that that's going to happen each year, and you know that everybody else is going to be going through the same experience, and hopefully it's going to be a positive experience, then we have consistency, we have an expectation, and we have a policy that sets a standard for excellence. So what I'm trying to say here is policies tell people what to expect, and those expectations for excellence help everybody see that we're aiming for quality all along the way.
I think that personnel or employee policies are absolutely essential in creating the work environment for the employees. It creates a fairness. Everybody knows what can be expected and knows what's going to happen to them when they work well and what they're going to get. And it creates a kind of consistency with everybody. Also, transparency is important so that you're not managing a program where there are rules that are hidden from the employees. They don't know what's going to happen to them. Transparency is very important for all employees to feel secure and to do their work. I basically use two ways of making sure that my policies are legally sound. I belong to a directors exchange group where we meet on a monthly basis of a lot of different directors, and I get to use the expertise of all of these directors and their legal advice and compare it against one another. And secondly, in this group, we sometimes invite a lawyer to come to speak to us specifically on personnel issues. This person is also available to me. I pay her a fee and to call her, and I can call her up whenever I have a question about anything that's going on in my staff. So I think using the advice of a lawyer and also using the advice of other center directors who have been through similar experiences.
If I were talking to a new director, the first thing that I would say that needs to be done is the establishments of your policies and procedures. This would be your staff policies. It would also be your policies for your parents and your children, because you can't begin to run a center until you know the basis on which that center is founded. And you can't convey the ways in which the center will be run to others until you have established for yourself very clearly what your policies and procedures are.
When you apply policy to people, it's a totally different thing than writing it down on a piece of paper. So the biggest mistake I made initially was I wanted to be too nice. I wanted to help people, I wanted everybody to be happy, I wanted people to like me, and I wanted everyone to enjoy their day. So initially, you think as a manager, that means I need to give them what they want when they ask for time off, for example, or they have problems getting to work on time. You want to work with them and you want to be a people pleaser, and that ends up being a huge mistake because then you can't run your building. Some of the other things that I did in terms of getting out of that practice related to setting up a frame or changing something in the environment. For example, letting people off of work I made a policy, wrote it down, handed it out, had people sign it that said, everyone is now aware that only 2 people can be off each day because this is how many substitutes or floaters or availability we would have for extra staff. This is where the calendar is located, and put the responsibility on the staff to check the calendar first, see who was off, see how many people were there, and then turn in their written leave request, and then get a written copy back. So putting pieces in place that were more formal and put more onus on the employee and less on me saying yes to everything made a difference.
I definitely would recommend having well-defined written policies and procedures and really train staff to referencing them. People are not always readily available when something comes up, and so making sure that people understand if there's a confusion about a policy or a procedure, they can find that in their handbook, and somebody would then be able to make sure that they're following it properly.